be a few seconds.
Got it. There we go.
Hello, everybody. It's Laura Eisenhower. I am joined today by some really amazing women. We just were on a meditation call together, and this is a really great opportunity to actually get to know each other more, because I'm not as familiar as I'd like to be with Lindsay and Alpa Soni. But Dr. Charnel and I have been doing a lot together for a really long time, and we're just become incredible friends. And we came up with this idea because there's so much energy that we're moving and working, and we're all feeling very, very similar. And we just wanted to bring some attention to this. But I want to go around, of course, and hear about you if you want to share a little bio. But I'm going to actually hand it over to you, Dr. Charnel, because you brought these awesome women in. And yeah, we're going to co-host. So kind of take it away, and we'll hear some bios and a few words about you as well, Dr. Charnel.
Awesome. I'm so glad to be here with you guys. And so, yeah, we were just on this meditation, and Laura and I have been talking for a couple days because I pretty much had a crazy breakdown yesterday. Pretty much all it's been building, and it's been heavy, and I have a tendency to hide when I have those feelings, because I always want to be like encouraging and uplifting and, you know, help humanity in whatever way, or feel some sort of, you know, need to try to help people. And you know, that's my passion. And so when I'm down, I don't want that to be contagious. I don't want to bring anybody down with me. And so I've kind of hid, and Laura is someone secure and safe that I've been able to, you know, love and be friends with for a long time. And she's been a sounding board for me. And yesterday we were talking, and I was just like, oh, I just feel paralyzed. I feel like anything I do isn't helping. Like, I just feel like it's not working. Like, we're still here. It's been 2 years. Like, what else can we do? Like, I'm out here, you know, sharing and educating and getting people to understand what's happening, and you know, working with the government, working with my patients, you know, doing shows, interviewing, you know, everybody, and just doing whatever I can to help. So yeah, I just kind of hit a wall yesterday and was just like, why am I even doing this? You know, I feel like I'm not helping anyone. And even with the government, you know, we just had twice now, we've had huge voting in this state where I am currently. And we even had Dr. Malone and Robert Kennedy here on the 6th, and, you know, really trying to educate people and get them on board. And then there was a vote, miraculously 13-2, to, you know, stop some of the madness. And then the governor was basically like, it doesn't matter, like, I'm going to do what I want to, and like overrode it. And that's the second time, no matter all the testimonies and everything. So I was just, you know, I think it's just been building. And again, I've kind of held back, and I didn't even know if I, you know, how to put it into words, until I just had a loss of, you know, all these things building, and not wanting to do shows, and like things collecting and building around the house, of just not even able to do normal things like shower, or, you know, I'm just being straight, like cleaning or anything. I just had like felt like stuck, and yeah. I'm not like stuck person. That's not me. I'm the one who helps change the patterns, who has the formulas to do it. And I tried all the things to do those things, and I still wasn't even getting there for me. And so, you know, yesterday talking to her, Laura was like, we need to get on a video and just like talk straight shit here and just be honest. And maybe this can help like therapeutically. And so what I didn't know is Amelia had this thing on yesterday. She kept inviting me, and I was kind of like not wanting to do it because just the way I felt, and I didn't want to be a drag. But she just kept on. And then Carrie Cassidy contacted me and was like, hey, can you be on this thing? And she said Laura was going to be there. And I'm like, I don't know what this is, but okay. And to be honest, when Lindsay and Alpha were talking, especially Alpha, holy shit, like she just like literally spoke like exact words that I was saying to Laura and some of my friends last night as I went to their living room, and just like sobbed in their kitchen for hours last night, just feeling, hopeless. And when I heard that Alpha's feeling the same way, I was just like, what? This has got to be bigger than just me. Maybe there's a lot of people feeling it too. Maybe I should be talking about this. Maybe this will help connect people to not feel alone. Because when she spoke, I literally was like, oh my God, I'm not crazy. And, hearing Laura, I was like, okay, I feel better already. Like just knowing I'm not insane and just having like this moment with myself. Like, I feel like, okay, if other people are there too, maybe it's not so bad in a weird, not that I want anyone to feel bad, but it was just like, and so knowing that, I'm like, okay, well, obviously this is a collective and there's probably other people feeling the same. I had posted on Facebook a couple days ago, or yesterday, I think I was just like, please just give me some good news, like post anything, like can someone just tell me anything good that's happening, because I wasn't feeling it. And, someone made the comment like, oh, well, I don't watch the news. So, and I'm like, who said I am? I'm just talking about real life of what people are telling me and what I'm experiencing. So I don't know. As far as who I am, I'm a naturopathic doctor. I have a show, Swiftfire, swiftfire.org. I'm a truther, contactee, as part of Montauk. Who am I? I don't know. I'm an author. So I never know how to answer that question, but that's a little bit if you've never seen anything about me. But yeah, anyway, Alpha, you guys want to go and just share a little bit about what you're feeling and who you are? And
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Well, I second that, because after I got off the show today, but before I say that, Laura, thank you for having me as a guest on the show. It's nice to be with three of you again. I did feel all your energies very intensely, and I'm very intuitive and sensitive to the collective energies. And it sometimes like really takes over me and it depresses me, and I feel helpless because I don't know what to do. And then I'm learning in this journey to be able to separate, is this mine or is this the collective energy? So it is a nice feeling, so to speak, to hear that other people are going through the same thing, because you do start feeling crazy in this journey. And let's be honest, we've been doing this for like over 2 years, almost 2 years now, and it is getting sort of, when is this going to end? Or, we have our own stuff going on. And just yesterday, before I came on the healing ceremony today with Amelia, I felt depleted. I felt a really dense energy, but it was one of sadness and one of helplessness, because I haven't been going on my show. My YouTube channel is the Love and Action Show with Alpa Soni. I kept getting censored. I kept getting blocked. They kept starting doing funny things, and having my own battles with my own like health. It's exasperating. It's exhausting. It's like you start questioning yourself. Laura, I started like not remembering things when I was on shows. I would go blank, and it started creating this insecurity within, because before it was very much I'd go on, say what we've got to say. I didn't care what anyone thought, and it's this real fierce warrior energy. But we are affected by our environment, by the people that we surround ourselves with, as well as the collective energy. And it's being in tune with that and actually coming to an acceptance and feeling that actually, is this mine or is this the collective? So you say you felt like you didn't want to do anything, you didn't want to go online, you didn't want to go live. It just felt like, what's the point? Because believe it or not, I felt the same, but it's what's going on around us, especially with regards to the stuff and what's going on in the UK, what's going on here in the States, and everywhere in the world. Sorry, I'm not going to say the word because censorship and stuff. I know you've been taken down before, Laura. I've been like banned so many times, but yeah, it is getting to us, and we have our own stuff going on personally, and it's like, is this mine? And we have to understand that we're human beings, having this conscious experience, and it's about balancing it, but being honest and being vulnerable. Vulnerability is not a bad thing. So Dr. Chanel, thank you for sharing everything that you shared with me now and with us, because I've been feeling the same, exactly the same, just feeling apathetical. The apathy has been quite intense. And then let's look at our close relationships. How are we with each other? Because there's so many people on different pages on this journey. So our loved ones, people that we once were really close to, now we're kind of strangers and estranged from. That's not easy psychologically for any of us to deal with, no matter how strong you are. You know, we love as human beings connection. Love is everything. So what do we do? And 20 months, 22 months on, seeing, you know, all the different narratives that play, speculating what really is the truth, who knows what, going on this person's journey. I got to a point where it's like, I don't care, because this is nuts, you know. So yeah, when I started in May of last year, it's a very different story to where we were in May. But look, at the same time, this is good. This is great energy, and yeah, I'm glad to be vulnerable here on your show, Laura.
Yay! And I think it's so important that we are vulnerable, because being authentic and being genuine and being ourselves is, to me, the most important thing to offer humanity, more than all the answers or the solutions. I mean, we have our tools, modalities, and wisdom and life experience, and we're able to see the larger picture, and that's why we do the work that we do. And we love to discuss it, and we're willing to be public. I mean, everybody's got a voice. But I think this is way better than just being strong for everybody and carrying that weight of, wow, I don't even want to show up today because I'm just not feeling up for it, versus I'm going to do it, but I'm going to be me and I'm going to be real about it. Because I think it helps everybody to feel a little bit more relaxed. Like, oh, like you were saying, Charnel, I'm not the only one. And we can actually talk about this, move the energy, and come out the other side. So Lindsay, tell us about yourself and what you've been experiencing lately. And then I'll share a little bit about what I've been experiencing. I'm just kind of segueing between Alpa and you, Lindsay. So what are your thoughts? And tell us a bit about yourself first.
I'm a Chinese medicine doctor and acupuncturist for over a decade. I specialize in sports medicine, and I am a clairvoyant and a reader. So I've been doing that basically my whole life. So it's an interesting mix. But yes, we were talking on or after the show, after the healing, and how it was, I don't want to say it was refreshing, but it was good to feel that I'm not alone. And I like that Alpha, by the way, when you were talking, you had jumped off, but I wanted to tell you, when you were speaking, I almost broke down in tears, because you saying that you had felt that the quivering in your throat, that's exactly what I was feeling when we were going through the breath work. So you feel that while I was getting the clearing from Bill, that's exactly what was happening with me.
Yeah,
oh.
I could feel it.
Oh,
really
yes.
intensely.
So as soon as you spoke, I was like, oh my God, don't break down, Linz.
I'm such a crybaby. I cry.
What was that?
I'm such a crybaby. I cry all the time.
I've been crying all week. I feel like
our baby over here. Yep.
And then Dr. Chanel spoke, and as she's speaking, I'm like on Instagram messaging her, I love you. I feel the same way. Don't worry, we're all in this together. So it was also good to hear, and I love to hear that you mentioned the collective, and so much we hear about the collective and other aspects of spirituality and healing in the groups. And it's so funny to me, because I was like, oh my gosh, I never really thought of us all as a larger collective outside of just like my small group with like Amelia and that whole crew. And I'm like, we really are. I mean, it is expansive, and to hear that and to feel that we're all going through this transition, this cycle together, is also very, it makes me feel more secure and more safe that we're all traveling that same path, that same journey as teammates.
Yeah.
Can I say something real quick?
Yes.
Something too that Laura and I kept going back and forth on yesterday. It was like, not just like within the communities over the last 2 years, Alpa Soni was saying, you know, even the shifts among friendships, definitely friendships, families, but even like people I've collaborated with. It's like, who's real? Who can we trust? You know, what is real? Am I even real? Like, do I know anything? Like, I feel like I don't know anything. Like, I just feel,
this is great.
I know I'm trying to keep it the show, you know, and I don't know, I just feel like, who the F, like, who's real? Like, you know, so-and-so working for this 3-digit person or whatever. And what are these like infiltrators, or, you know, it's like, who's real anymore? Like, I've stopped doing a lot with a lot of people because there's a handful of people I even trust anymore. And because I feel a responsibility that if they're on my show, then I know that my people are going to maybe go listen to other things that they say. And then what if their narrative is like totally effed? And then I'm responsible that those people got hooked up into that because they trusted me and my 20 years of credibility or 30 years, whatever. And you know what I mean? It's like, so
But can I interrupt you there?
I've even been like nervous about even who to even have anymore, and like pulling back on friendships and people. And not that I'm upset with anyone that I've ever done anything with, you know, because I love everyone, no matter where they're at or what they're doing, but also just this protective mom in me wants to just be like so sure that anyone that's with me is pure, and not working with anyone that's going to just start this narrative of like, hey, wait for the white hats or Jesus or fucking Santa or the Galactic Federation, which, you know, I get that there's stuff out there and there's people working behind the scenes, but I also don't want everyone to be so waiting on everyone else that they do fucking nothing because they're waiting on someone else to do it instead of us being the ones who are the ones who are supposed to do it. And so that's another thing, is like, I don't even know anymore. Like, I feel like I know nothing. I don't know who to trust. You know, I don't even trust myself. Like, because
I'd like to interrupt you there. And I think it's really important that you raised this, because there was this movement created by the so-called truthers. Yeah, we're seekers of truth. Who has the accuracy and the answers out of us for right now? Do you know exactly what's going to happen next geopolitically? There has been so much confusion, distortion in this movement that it's pushed people off the edge. So we go into this kind of pandemonium of this person's this person's that. Let's bring it back. Yeah, bring it back. What has the cabal instigated with trashy media magazines and all this person's this, and look at that person, evoking these horrible kind of energies into the collective? And we're moving out of that kind of thinking and that programming. And I say this time and time again on my shows, that you are centered as a human being yourself, and we need to trust self. This is what we have been programmed. We're unprogramming ourselves from going outside. We're learning to trust ourselves, and it's okay that you're questioning all of this. It's absolutely fine that you are having moments of like, what is this? Is this real? Because as empaths, and as all of us who have gone on this whole children narrative where we've like, oh my God, it's woken so many people up in the world. And then suddenly we're being questioned by a loved one saying this stuff is all rubbish. Yeah. I've had that by my family, by my friends saying, oh yeah, waiting for the children stuff to be exposed still to this day. And it dented my psychological makeup, because I thought, do you think I'd lie about something like that? Right? And then we go on to like all these people, individuals who have from around the world have just started speaking up, and, you know, speaking up to what they have speculated, what they have analyzed to be the truth. Yeah, to their truth. And then suddenly on the outside and geopolitically, things are not happening as we thought. What is this teaching us though? What lessons are we learning here? And for it to have such an impact, for me, I went through exactly all of what you just said, Dr. Chanel. I went through a very short period, mind you, and all I did was I just stepped away, because it was silly. It was like, you know, who do we trust? All of those questions, I just completely took it out of my head, and I just took a break from it and reconnected with myself. And the thing is, we are individual beings. Our truth will speak for itself. We're energetic beings. Yeah. So if you have somebody on your show that may not be whatever, that's down on them. It's not a reflection of you. Yeah, because your purpose is congruent with what you're trying to do, and that is stand up for truth, stand up for the adversity that we're going through right now, standing up for the children in every single way. Well, I'm not interested in who's this, who's that. I'm interested in how do we wake up the collective even more, because it's happening in phases. If you look at where we were a year ago, every single day we must take. This is how I comforted myself that, okay, I started putting up posts on my WhatsApp because I was banned from everywhere. And I have started seeing every family member starting to look at all my stories, all of them. And it's just family that look at my stories on Facebook. Yeah. But no one comments. No, none of my friends comment. All the people that have stopped talking to me, none of them comment. right? But they're watching everything I'm doing. So somewhere along the line, whether it's sinking in or not, I'm congruent with the divine, where I'm like, my intentions are here not to fall out with anyone. This unity consciousness that my intentions were to bring about right at the start, that's congruent with what I want to maintain. And I will observe, be the observer of my thoughts and my feelings and my actions. I don't get it right. I have been like batshit crazy over the last 2 days. I had to question myself, where the hell is this psychoness coming from? Because I felt like crazy. I felt like I was a flipping fucking lunatic. Excuse the French. Yes, we're all vulnerable and authentic here. And, you know, you start doubting yourself, but that's okay. Be the observer. And we are observers. And the universe, if we're congruent, look at how magically we've all come together without really much of a, like, Amelia was asking me, will you come on this? I was dismissing all her messages. Yeah. But then she goes, do you want to come on? I said, yes. Okay. Right. And she caught me at a time when I was like, I just can't even, respond to people. So it's coming from a place of observation, and then the magnitude and the miracles of the energy that has put us together here right now.
Oh, totally.
Really
awesome. I'm going to say a few words and then see what you have to say, Lindsay. Thank you so much for sharing that, Alpa. Yeah, no, it's amazing, because we do have to embrace the mystery. We are holding a nurturing energy for the collective, and you got to kind of feel it to heal it. So we can't really separate from the empathicness of it all. These are the sort of causes that are different than getting all hyped up over a sports team that you want to win. We're talking about real deal, like, stuff that is life or death. And we're dealing with the targeting of innocent children. We're dealing with horrific crimes against humanity. And this isn't the kind of stuff that we can just sit back and neutrally talk about without having emotions, without having anger, without having frustration, especially with people that are playing in the lower vibrations of being petty, being backstabbing, being all about this. So I was in a real funk. I've been in a funk on and off for ever since this began, to the point where sometimes I can't even breathe. And I'm just like grabbing at anything to calm down my nervous system, taking as much space as I need to just cry it out. And it does feel kind of like insanity. And sometimes it can lead to doubt, because it's like, where's the download? There's always a download or some sort of wisdom that comes in that used to be so much more available that doesn't even feel like it's there. And then I realize the times where I feel resistant, or I don't feel like writing, and I don't feel like getting out of bed. I don't care, if my shoes match, or I go to the grocery store in a bathrobe. I'm just like, and I'm like completely embracing my train wreckage, right? And I'm like, and the insanity of it all. And it's like, fine, this is where I'm at, folks. Like, whatever, you're wearing your mask, I'm going to wear my, anyway, I realized, though, in some of the most intense moments of pain, if I allow myself to be creative, I'm going to move the energy a lot better. And there's so much more to what we're feeling than just the feeling of it. And that's why it's important we talk. And real quick, like last night, I wrote something and it shifted me as I wrote it. And I'll just share a little blip from it. I said, it must be hard for the shallow folks out there, because superficial isn't going to cut it anymore. The world of appearances, the 3D programmed personality matrix, has nowhere left to go. Those who are addicted to drama, gossip, trends, and following the pop culture way are going to be feeling pretty lost for a bit, because no one is going to be able to escape this current growth period on the planet. Basically, what I'm saying is, to stay in the matrix means compliancy to authority, compromising oneself for the sake of still playing in the game in order to be successful or search out that American dream, which is dead. The only sustainable thing is the cosmic earthly dream and experience, the discovery of the elemental kingdom and this and that. And how the transition into embodying our soul nature is going to be tough for many. They're not going to be able to get away with betrayal or backstabbing or being petty or shallow. But if they do want to stay in that world, it's going to eat them alive. Like they're being spun by the spider in this net of like getting further and further immersed in it. And the only pathway now that's open to ensure that we're all going to be okay is to unhook from this web and the Dark Lord spiders, and the world of celebrity is going to have to take a back seat as being a priority. And we're all being asked to step up to a role that is greater than being a consumer or a follower of socially engineered movements or entertainment industry obsession with its predictive programming. This death process is underway. The death of the old paradigm and how the ego has attached itself to it is leading to the rebirth that has to be soul-centered, with our ego aligned with spirit, love, wisdom, cosmos, earth, and truth, to generate this energy throughout our physical vessel and into the collective consciousness. The only way left for any of us, and we've all been holding space for this, so we haven't lost ourselves here, is to be soul-centered and connected to the heart and compassion and being exactly what we have been, but accepting this challenge as like something other people have to accept. This is why we're being let down by our leaders. That's why there's nobody to look to and nobody to trust anymore, because it's the ultimate catalyst for us being like, all we got is us. And we have us to then unite with one another. And there's no room for lack of integrity, because we have a great responsibility to each other to be soul family and friends, and to have each other's back, and to rehabilitate and to help the planet rehabilitate. And none of these lower behavior patterns of whatever humans think is okay and that they can get away with it is going to cut it anymore. So I just wanted to say that. And
that's the battle, Laura. These lower vibrational behaviors. And that is the battle we're trying to sieve our way through. Yeah, and we're sort of being hit all over, and then it affects us.
Exactly.
And it hurts, and then we think, is it me? And the self-doubt starts happening. But when we're congruent in knowing what we're fighting for, because we're actually on the right side of humanity, and this is not meant in any egotistical way, but absolutely we're being hit at all ends. And then of course we have our own stuff going on outside the public eye, and then it's like it gets exhausting. And then all the things that happen that we spoke about earlier, the doubt, the self-doubt, and all these betrayals and things that we're facing internally from our close ones, comes to the forefront, and we start feeling it. But really, we're fighting the matrix, and it's the collapse of the 3D matrix. And you said it very poignantly. It's very well written.
Thank you. It's much longer, but I didn't want to. But yeah, I mean, it's like the death of the old paradigm. Is a mourning process. And I feel that's why the lungs are very vulnerable, because it stores grief, and people have a lot of unconscious grief because they don't understand what this transition is about. They can't wrap their head around the crimes against humanity. And there's a fear of death when really they're fearing transformation, because this is a huge opportunity to work through the grief, to have these honest conversations so that we can be responsible and not bicker like it's about right or left or politics.
Yeah,
but anyway,
exactly.
Lindsay.
Yeah. Exactly.
I wish I was taking notes over here just because I had so many points. But while you were speaking, I saw, I don't know if you guys know this, but one of my friends is a CIA sniper, and they link legs on rooftops and they circle each other. Does that make sense? And I feel like that is now us. We're all linked together in a circle, facing outwards towards everything coming towards us. And that's what I was seeing as like us protecting each other, going against what is going on right now.
I agree. And I was just going to say one thing that has, with the death of collaborations or friends or things that we, family, whatever, and all of the, as we emerge, we are finding each other. And, to do that link up. And, and some people have disappointed us and me, and, and that's part of the grief for me, is just going, damn, because I not just grief and someone letting me down, but grief and, the feeling that like my own intuition didn't pick up on that, and just being like questioning again that and going, God, if I didn't know that, like, do I know anything? Like, is any, you know what I mean? And so
you're heart-centered, and I think you just see the good in people. And even if the stuff falls apart, it's not that isn't inevitable in most relationships, that there isn't going to be a misunderstanding. What I think you and I are in agreement about is the unwillingness to work it out, the silent treatment, where you're just left with nothing but the mind fuck of it all. Like the lack of conversation. I just had to jump in and say that, but
yeah,
we can work this out and talk it out.
But because expression is key, and just like you're painting, and I think Alpha talked about this too, this expression, like the opposite of depression is, or oppression, or suppression is expression. And part of the way we can express is obviously just talking and having communication and being able to verbalize with someone that you may not be, that you need to talk to. And if they're not willing to talk, then like, where do you go? And so I've had to look for other outlets, and I've been doing all the tools that I know is like, okay, I'm using essential oils, I'm meditating, I'm taking walks, I'm, drinking, juicing, I'm, getting the hyperbaric chamber and doing bioscans and using crystals. And it's like all that stuff. And I'm like, still feeling this like drag. I mean, I feel better now, but I realize that express, like just vocalizing it like we did earlier, like I already feel like
That's the shift.
100,000 pounds fell off of me, because as we express and we communicate, that has lifted. And I'm just encouraging any of you guys to who are out there who are just feeling like even more squished in whatever, is to think about what it is that you need to do in your form of expression, and do it, like, because it's seek ye first the kingdom of God, and then all these things will be added to you. So you're seeking the kingdom may be different than mine. So as you look back in your kind of replay your mind, it's like maybe make that phone call, or paint that painting, or write that song, or crochet, or clean the closet, or whatever the thing is that you've been like, I've been meaning to do that and I've just put it off. Like, do that thing. And like the Kleenex box, you pull out a Kleenex and something else pops up, and you start to feel, more expansion and like relief, and which is the word relief is to relive. And I already feel better. I hope people will I just invite people to do whatever that is for you, whether it's set up a Zoom with your friends and just don't record, but just vent and have a conversation and be with others. That's huge. And so no matter all the bickering and division and, now these guys are fighting. And I feel like there's times where people are like, oh, we're fighting, and they send you a link. We're fighting and we're disassociating with that person. We just want to let you know. And it's like they want me to do that with them. And I'm like, I don't want to be on anyone's side. Like, I just want to be me in the middle of the thing. I love everyone. And like, I just want to be true, and I'm not picking anything. And sometimes when you don't pick, it's like you're in the middle of the road and you just get run over. And I'm like, I'm not doing that. I'm just going to love everyone and be me and speak what's true to me, and have people on that I feel I'm supposed to, and just keep being an authentic, truthful expression seeker of God and truth and love. And that's what I'm doing. So I know you're about to say something, Alpha. Go ahead.
No, I just think that you're spot on there, and authenticity is your superpower. Yeah, being authentic really is our own superpower, because all this division is happening within the truth community, as you brought it up. And don't you think there's some sort of subliminal psyop there as well by design? So, and then we've fallen for it. And now we sort of take a step back and we decide ourselves that we don't want to participate in that type of behavior. That's not conducive and congruent for me to elevate, to ascend, or whatever these spiritual terms that have been thrown out, whatever. We know our truth. We know the true core of our own being, and we as observers can really ascertain as, okay, that's not where I want to be. So Dr. Chanel, you said, like, you're seeing that. That's great. Now you've got all the information. And we've all collectively, we've come together, and it's okay, because you're not the only one feeling it, because we like to, as human beings, feel connection and feel the love. And we've been separated from our loved ones, and that's not easy. It takes the emotional toll. No matter how much we think we're strong, it does, because these were people once in our lives that we loved, or family members that we had a sort of, go to a place to, or whatever, and a connection with. And now suddenly, 20 months on, it's like all our relationships have changed. But how do
Oh, your sound just went. It seems like everybody's sound is gone.
Can you hear me?
Okay.
Yeah, can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
They're trying to get us. My internet connection's a little bit unstable, but I'll wait for it to come back. Yeah. So, this is how we are observing ourselves in this movement. And it's beautiful. This is.
I'm so
glad. Oh, yeah, go on.
Oh, no, you go ahead. Well, I was just going to say real quick, but this is the breakthrough. And this is what we need. And as much as those emotions might be stirring that create questions or doubts or what's real or what's not real, I feel the fact that we're giving it a voice is the antidote and solution, because the reason I think there's resistance to doing certain things is because if we're not able to fully be ourselves, or just show up in the way that we are on an authentic level, what's the point in showing up? It's like, I'd rather just hide in a cave and like not get out of bed. Why would I want to be on camera right now? And I realize maybe sometimes I shouldn't be, but when I am, for the times where I am holding it together well enough, this is where it's at. So Lindsay, what are your thoughts?
I was just going to say that I resonate so much with both of you. Also, times to be on camera when you should not be. And I just said that the other day. And Dr. Chanel, I had the exact same experiences this week that you just mentioned, which one of them came out of the left field, and I couldn't believe, like, telling me to get rid of a stranger, to get rid of a friendship over some interaction over one of the mandates out in San Diego, that they had to hunt me down and tell me that I needed to abandon this relationship because of that situation.
Wait, who's they? Who hunted you down?
Some stranger on the internet was standing next to a friend in line, and my friend spoke out about the mandates, and they at 4 a.m. wrote me this whole long diatribe on how I should no longer be associated with this person.
Wow.
And
Yes, because they know better. They know what you should be doing, Dr. Lindsay. They know. Everyone knows. I don't know, you guys probably all get that, but I get the emails where you should be doing this. You shouldn't be doing that. And I'm like, you don't have to know anything about me or what I'm doing or what I'm supposed to do. Just stop.
It's like nothing more annoying than that. It's like, I don't want to read the comments.
Yes.
Because I mean, it's hard enough sometimes to show up and just do your best and try and deliver, information and keep the unity going, and then just reading comments, the pettiness of it all, and that's not going to fly. And that's what I feel, that some of our self-doubt and frustration is that we're looking to help evolve humanity. We're looking to thrive. We're looking to expand. We're looking to grow and spiritually mature. So when you see people choosing to drop their energy, like in worse ways than maybe before, and the stupidity factor is growing at exponential rates, I mean, I think it's an appropriate response to the bullshit. It's like, one of my favorite quotes is, well, it's no measure of health to be well adjusted to a sick society is a good one. But there's one about, depression isn't a mental dysfunction or an emotion. It's an appropriate response to the desecration of all that's sacred. So I feel like we're responding appropriately. We care. We're doing all we can. And we're not always going to have our best day. And sometimes, it might be fun to make fun of us or poke fun at whatever facade is not being able to be held up. But you know what? At least for me, I'm not a trained journalist. I haven't been groomed to play this role. I'm doing it because I love and care about humanity, and I want to rescue the children.
That's the important point we need to stick to. That's the most important point. We need to bring ourselves back to, why did we start speaking up? Were you prepared, Laura, for this? Were you, Dr. Chanel? Were you, Lindsay? It was the whole thing. We came without any, preparation. And the absurdity of what's going on, what we have to deal with at grassroots is it just completely makes you think, am I actually in this? Is this a simulation? And I've been watching, is this a simulation? I mean, I got chucked off a flight because I had my mask underneath. Yeah. And obviously I don't like to subordinate, but I just wanted to get where I had to get to. But I was drinking like this. They chucked me off the flight.
They kicked you off the flight?
She got kicked off too on her way back.
I got kicked off twice.
From Mexico. And the worst thing was, everybody was cheering.
Yes.
The fuckers were cheering. And I'm just like, is this the world that we're living in? That's the acceptance. That's the difficulty in accepting this stupidity that we're having with what you just said, don't be friends with you because you're fighting the mandate. Don't be friends with this person because they haven't had a jab. Really, guys, are we in this place at the moment in the world? And that is what has caused us the friction within ourselves. And that's where I realized our souls started wearing thin, because the stupidity and the absurdity of it, because the lack of common sense doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense. I mean, we have to think about it like a virus that has a 99.9% survival rate. You've got top experts giving you facts against the mask, and then the this, and telling you it has less of a survival rate. Why would you want to even go there? But this stupidity is because it's indicative of the depth of how this programming has gone for a long time, not just now. And then we can, as ascended beings, or attempting to ascend in this madness, as we go I go 3D sometimes, I go really 3D. But while we're trying to really move forward in this, when we're faced with these challenges and these levels of stupidity, that is where our soul sometimes wears thin. And this is the recognition of that, and okay, now I'm just going to look at it as an observer and not get so emotionally attached to this drama that's playing out. And that's how I realized I got myself out of what you say is the depression. I was depressed. I did not want to come on the spiritual. I was a sad ass, not a badass, right? I was just being like the love in action. There was no action going on in the love in action. It was a bloody sad ass show, right? Because I was like, I don't want to do this. The level of morons that were commenting on some of the posts and things on other people's posts, bringing other people down. But it's okay. When you recharge, we reconnect, and something so small will happen, like what happened today, that's clicked it and it's made sense, or is starting to make sense. And here we are.
Important thing I think
On
about
the
this
Winter Solstice. Go ahead, Lindsay.
is the recharge, and like that feeling of who to trust. Can I even trust myself? And that's a lot from burnout, being tired. And Alfie too, about ascending. I was channeling last night. I was automatic writing, and I had asked, like, why is this going on? Why, like, these triggers? I mean, I haven't been triggered like this since, in my early 20s, or like a little girl. That's how intense. It was insane. So I'm like, what is going on? And the message I received was it's to learn how to almost to self-regulate, to go back to neutral as quickly as possible, and how to, we all have our steps, right? There's those 4 questions too that Sandra Biz can use as, what am I feeling? Yeah, despair, heartache. Charnel, I feel like that's a lot, heartbreak for what's going on. Anger, rage, right? All these other emotions. What am I feeling? What am I focused on? How stupid people are. 3. Right? So how stupid people are. 3.
I've done that.
What was that?
I said, to be fair, that was the focus for me at one point. I was like, you dropped when you were born. I was like, I got really so agitated in my travels that I was just like, this has to stop, this anger within.
Do you guys ever get, like, I thought you were supposed to be all light and love. I'm like, where did I ever say that? Did I put that in my resume that I'm all light and love?
From New York. No. Yeah.
A lot of love and light, and also go fuck yourself as well.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. And I keep joking, like, if I were able to leave behind a constellation, it would be in the shape of a.
Hey, listen, I'm
if things don't change, that is. Okay, so keep going, Lindsay. Sorry.
So 1, what am I feeling? 2, what am I focused on? 3, what do I want to feel? Love, compassion, gratitude. And what do I need to focus on that? And just gratitude and love, and shifting yourself into that space, right? But I mean, it's hard. Like, and you have to keep doing it over and over again. But I think that, like, that's really, it's important, an important lesson for us right now at this moment, to shift out of those spots. Because it's or to help each other shift out, remind, right? There's so many. This week, my friends had to remind me, multiple friends, different reminders of, like, what to do, how to get out of the hole.
Well, what came up in my Facebook memories, Laura, for the last 2 years, we've done a talk on 12/21 Winter Solstice. And I was like, Carrie Cassidy, actually, I had sent her something in a group chat about just the way I was feeling. And then I also sent something to the state reps that I was talking to, and both of them came back and they were like, you're like the 100th person that's told me this today. It is winter solstice, blah, blah. And I was like, duh. So Laura, can you go into a little bit about just the, universal energies of what winter solstice is, and in that navigation, And
the planets this past week, right? Weren't they supposed to be insane? Like, energetic.
Yeah, they were.
And I think that's
crazy.
the bigger point, is what the planetary alignments have been. I mean, winter solstice, is incredibly significant this particular time, because we are having a nodal shift. We are moving from South Node Sagittarius, North Node Gemini, to South Node Scorpio, North Node Taurus. So what the nodes represent is the growth period that humanity is currently under. So when we look at it in our own personal natal chart, it'll give us clues about that based on what our nodes are. But when it's a transiting thing, it's something that is hitting all of us. So the South Node has to do with the past and things that we're drawing from, and things we're sort of leaving behind, but not permanently, because it's all about integration of polarity. So we go into the North Node, that's where sort of the compass is pointing, or the trail marker, and we start to integrate those energies. And then we come back around and pick up the South Node. And symbolically, it's the Ouroboros, the serpent biting its tail, because things come full circle. So in order to get out of duality and break duality on a soul level, what the charts show is that the greater soul mission is to integrate polarity and not be in duality. So the South and North Node give us a chance to really work energy, because we are almost stepping out of our comfort zone. I mean, it also depends on what our chart is. So now the Scorpionic South Node and the Plutonic ruler of Scorpio is being really lit up, So fears of death, death pictures from past lives, the way we associate with the plutonic energy, those who embrace transformation and know how to let go and release are going to have a much easier time versus people that want to hold on to attachments. They're the kind of people that might stay in a narcissistic, abusive relationship for longer than they should, that kind of stuff. And then on a medical astrology level, it rules reproductive organs, sexual energies, and has a lot to do with Kundalini activation and just really out with the old, in with the new, which is really important right now. So we're integrating Taurus, North Node. It's ruled by Venus. It's an earth energy. So the beauty of the earth, what we value the most, things related to abundance and self-worth issues are coming up. So we're already kind of like doing that right now is we just, because I feel a certain insecurity when things fall apart and I take it out on myself. It's like, I turn the sword on myself. What have I done? Did I not do enough? Did I fail my mission? And I know that's just a bunch of, but we're sitting on the foundation of really being able to compost. And so here we are, winter, and the winter solstice. I mean, it's the first day of winter, shortest day of the year, right? And so, I mean, that's got its own significance. But one of the most unbelievable things that actually sort of shifted me was Friday's full moon in Gemini. The sun in opposition in the sign of Sagittarius was conjunct the galactic center. And the galactic center connects us with the 0-point unified field and also the phase locking of the galactic cores of Milky Way and Andromeda. So it's almost like the sacred union, hierogamic union on a universal galaxy level has been achieved, which lights up our galactic chakras. And the 8th and 9th chakra represents an infinity spiral that goes around our head. And that begins to help us move on from the matrix and the fallen Milky Way system and the 7 chakra system that has kept us recycling because we haven't activated the galactic, we haven't switched on dormant DNA, which really is alchemical union, sacred union, and hierogamic union. So it's a love story. When we think about how do we switch on dormant DNA, we have to live authentically. We have to experience true love on a creational level in the way we relate to life. We can't have energetic cords with imposters or falsities and deception and all these psychological operations to ascend if we're still wrapped up in all that. So this activation has really helped people wipe the slate and deprogram a bit with a lot of positive energy, because sometimes it's daunting to deprogram without feeling like, oh my God, you're falling into the abyss, you don't know who you are anymore, which we're getting a taste of. But the energies of Jupiter forming a harmonious aspect and some of the more Aquarian type energy is really helping. And I hope I didn't go off for too long, but it's a very significant nodal shift. So the next cycle, like I said, is really being able to let go of what doesn't serve us, stepping into the Taurus Venus energies. And we're really being encouraged to drop the attachments with these so-called leaders, with governments, with entertainment industries, and all these power structures to recognize that we are the powers that be. Mother Earth is the great benevolent planetary consciousness that is guiding us. And if any benevolent ET is going to show up, they better remind us of that. And that if we can connect to that and step up to the plate, we can save ourselves. Anything less than that, with 22 different competing ET agendas, we got to be very careful of. No matter how benevolent and light-filled they seem, there are a lot of imposters. So
would Taurus Venus be like grounded love? Is that, you said we're moving?
Yeah, it's like living on an embodied level, like literally being that beacon of love, very connected with nature, self-worth, realizing what do we value most? If we value our spiritual path most, to us, when we have these kind of conversations and experiences, we value that more than maybe money. Maybe somebody values money more. And so, our value system and what we consider to be abundance isn't all going to be the same. But when we step out of the matrix, we realize that there's no dollar you can put on soul family friendships and seeing a beautiful sunset or animals playing together, that it's laughable how addicted people have come to this matrix. I mean, there's nothing wrong with abundance and material wealth at all. But how are we directing the intention and our power center with these kind of blessings? Because there's the ring of power that can corrupt. That's why people abuse their leadership positions and they abuse the blessings and they just get more greedy. And then there's those that manifest abundance and are able to take care of their own needs, but then have a generous spirit to create necessary change in the world, because we need resources right now.
Yeah, beautifully put, Laura. I think one of the energies just picking up on something you said, is that I just wanted to add to how people who I'm connecting with are showing up as mirrors, mirrors energetically. So it's not a good or a bad, but it's helping me personally realize and actualize that, oh my God, these are sort of unhealed parts of myself that if I'm not liking it in another person, or it's flagging up something that I need to heal, or that I don't, or a behavior that I no longer want to participate, patterns that I need to break down. And these energies are actually conducive to help us realize this. And 21, 12 is like a mirror, and then 21 again. You know, this is a powerful time. And I just realized sort of the numbers in this, and I've been facing that a lot since the full moon. Mirrors. People who I'm coming across in a positive way, not all just negative, but it's actually showing me behaviors about myself which is no longer conducive to me where I want to go, you know, moving forward. So everything is just, when you look at it and you stand back and look at the synchronicity of it all, it's beautiful.
Totally. Really awesome. I just want to say one more thing about the full moon in Gemini and the North and South nodes. So the South node, Sagittarius, in this last cycle has been about wisdom, life experience, philosophy, and all the things that Sagittarius represents. And we've needed to integrate the North node. It's very telling when one knows what's going on astrologically, how the deep state cabal and their knowledge of the occult looks at these growth periods and targets them. So if the North node has been Gemini, throat chakra, communication, look at all the censorship and look at the masking. So they know all this. They're like, okay, to design a psychological operation for these times, let's get everybody afraid of death. Let's cut off the breath of life, you know, in that fifth element, in the presence of the mother and the ether. It's just wild to see the psychological operations and how it corresponds with the shadow side of these planetary initiations, that if we weren't listening to this tyrannical authority, we'd be able to initiate through and come out the other end very advanced. And this is the ultimate hijacking. And this is an unbelievable psychological operation.
Absolutely. At every level. At every single level, the psychological psyops that are happening, and we're trying to weave our way through it and navigate our way through it and figure it out. And that's why we have to sort of take ourselves away from being attached to anything where it corrodes our own soul. And it has such a devastating impact, because essentially we're all learning. Every day is progressive growth for us here. And, you know, I say we're on the right side of history, not saying it egotistically, but we are, you know, congruent with what we want. We want to free ourselves from this matrix, this 3D matrix. And it's taken its toll, but this is for all of us to realize.
Well, I see, like, you're already, you know, I mean, people like us, and I'm not saying this from ego, but we are free from the matrix. We're trying to unlock the key. I mean, we're trying to unchain people. We're trying to, you know, usher as many souls as we can into moving through this gateway to higher earth energies. And when you see people fighting it, and you see people projecting on folks like us, when we see them making it about politics, or, you know, it's
race.
I think that's the most disheartening thing, is because it brings back childhood wounds of not being taken seriously. If I didn't get good, you know, just all the projections of, oh, you have learning disabilities and you're stupid. And it's just like, man, so all that I've done in the last 10 years really didn't amount to shit. Like, sorry, any thoughts, you guys? Because I could continue.
No, people will only meet you as far as they've met themselves.
But I'm kind of kidding about that. I know that I was able to do some stuff, but sorry, go ahead, Alpa.
No, but I think this is really important that you're mentioning all of this, because people will meet you as far as they've met themselves. And, you know, we were at the coffee shop the other day, and it's like, oh, look at those with the masks. And I said, no, let's stop that now. They've chosen to do that. There's enough information out there for them to realize that the whole stuff is bullshit. Yeah. But they will only meet you as far as their soul has evolved. Right. And who am I to judge? I just meet them with peace, love, and that's not my issue. We don't because the thing is, what we're doing is we then end up projecting. So it then sort of starts igniting some of our own wounds, and it's like, oh, look at them, blah, 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 they've done this, and we get into the exact dynamics that the cabal have wanted us to. That divide and conquer, and we don't want to go there. Okay, fine. If these relationships have dissolved, fine. If they're meant to, they'll come back. If they're meant to, if they're not, they've served their soul contract. So good. Yeah, they serve.
Well, I was going to say too. I think Alpa was saying, like, is this mine? Or it was on the last one when she was saying, is this mine? Or someone asked her, is this yours? And she said, honestly, both, which
Yes.
I can say, like, I have had 7 miscarriages. I don't talk a lot about that on a, live, but 3 of them were from Thanksgiving to Christmas season. And when that time, it was once I hit Thanksgiving, whether it's conscious, subconscious, whatever, those things come up. My grandfather and his brother passed on Christmas. I've had multiple deaths, even in my own family in this last year from the thing. And, and then just friends too that I've lost. And so, we're all, and you guys, everyone watching, you have your own thing too. Like, I'm not saying like my life is worse or better or anything. I'm just saying that because we are public at times, we're dealing with our own stuff and the collective. And I don't necessarily get on Facebook and say, I'm really sad that, I missed my babies today, or my family, or whatever. It's like, because I don't want to, first of all, talk about my private stuff as much, as much. Like, some things are just private, and but also that responsibility, whether it's fake or real, of just trying to maintain a certain plumb line for encouragement and to help people. And like, how do I feel like I can help anybody when I'm literally navigating through my own sorrow and sadness? And so as these things come, I think, like, the more questions we can ask, like Dr. Lindsay was saying, is just like, okay, is this mine? And or what is it that I'm feeling? And identify and go, okay, you know what? I'm sad because my cat of 17 years died and I really miss my cat. As crazy as that is, or whatever, like sorrow with babies or sorrow with whatever, is just be like owning it and just saying it out loud and going, I'm sad about blank, and just feeling it, feeling my way through, like Laura was saying. It's just like owning it, feeling it, and just experiencing it to transmute whatever is coming up, and to let it, another portion of it be moved out. And there's times when I beat myself up because I'm like, damn, it's been 7 years and I'm still crying about this. It's like, I thought I was finished, and then like it comes around and it's like, but what I like to see it as, like, even though it's circling, that it's like circling like this and not like this just one kind of thing, or down, but it's like circling up and getting lighter and lighter as I just like cry again and go, okay, and I've said this many times, it's like some things literally won't go anywhere to detox, but except for tears. And so, yeah, cry it out, call a friend. Thank God for friends and family that I can talk to and just be vulnerable to and own, and just be like, you know what, I'm having a bad time, I'm struggling, and just be honest.
I just want to say something real quick, but it's never, the sky is never going to stop raining. So there's never a point in which the grieving ends. I think it is very cyclical. And, sometimes I've warned family members or partners, mostly, it's monsoon season for Laura. It's going to be a wet, rainy season for like this next month. Or, we are so a part of nature, and there's volcanoes, there's rain and storms and hurricanes and beautiful days and clouds that obscure the sun. And the more we feel it, I feel the more we are able to work with it and find, balance or some kind of harmony with the way, it flows. And I just also wanted to, and that's kind of, you're reminding me of this, Charnel, because when I kind of break down in tears, I'm like, oh, here I go again. And then I don't even know if they're happy or laughing tears. I'm like, are you crying tears of happiness or sorrow? Like, I would love to put it under a microscope just to get, like, what is the vibrational pattern of your tears today? And I just wanted to say one thing about the masks and any kind of judgments. I don't like the term sheeple. I don't like branding people. I know we're bringing up stupidity, but it is stupidity. Where's the common sense? But it's not a directed attack at that individual. Oh, you're stupid. No, it's just the agenda's stupid. The way people are responding is stupid. The general atmosphere is ridiculous. But when I look at the individual and you just kind of see their eyes, we don't know. They might be completely confused. They might be all about it. They might be an advocate for the masking and the agendas, or they might just want everybody else to feel comfortable and they don't want to stand out. Exactly. Or, underneath it all, they might just be able to say, if you walk outside and, well, back in the day, you'd light up a cigarette at the schoolyard. No, maybe some herbal blend, and just be like, yo, pull down the mask. I refuse to wear one, and just talk about how ridiculous it is. We don't know the personality behind the masks and how everybody's coping. So I don't lump them all into one category just because they might be complying. So it's very important that we are careful of not creating division. And I just appreciating what you shared, Alpa, not creating division between, we're the awake ones and you guys are all asleep.
Exactly.
Like, we're all at different levels. Let's just work together and not allow the division between, or the conquer and divide. It's like we all have a gift to give to one another.
Absolutely. Who got the manual? If somebody got a manual of how to behave and how everything should be, please give that to me. We're actually evolving in the pace we're meant to be evolving. And, with this comparison, this judgment, this bickering, all these low vibrational things that are happening, we've been witness to, have been exasperating, to say the least. But then we once we notice it, we can evolve from it, and we can help to change that behavior. So we have big audiences here, and when I notice some bullshit on my shows, for example, I'll shut that up straight away, because it's like, why are we going into those cabal-based behaviors still? If we know what the truth is, and if we know that this person shouldn't be doing this and that person should be doing that, well, then flip and talk about it yourself. But then don't bring the vibe down in other sort of chat groups or things like that, because we want to be able to, it's not teaching people because we know better from an egotistical point of view. It's from a point of humbleness. Mm-hmm. It's from a point of saying, okay, look, Alpa, you messed up there. You were being an egotistical twat, right? And I have been pulled up on that many a times, because my anger gets the better of me. And I can own up to that and recognize that, oh crap, this is what I need to really subside. And because I feel so strong about something, but who the fuck am I sometimes to be giving so much unsolicited advice to somebody that hasn't asked for it, for example. And these were the problems that I was facing at the early stage. It's because it's this need to be right. No, look, if we're congruent with the divine, we know what we're fighting for. And we are, it's this, like, maybe these childhood wounds get triggered because, well, you didn't listen to me when I was a child. I wasn't heard. And these triggers then start coming up in this movement. And, when I was trying to explain to people what was going on, I was just like a bumbling mess.
Oh my God, me too.
And I was trying, but my mom would be going, Alpa, please breathe, right? Breathe, right? And I'd be like, but the thing is, I realized that we're so passionate about, oh my God, this stuff happens to kids. Oh my God, we've got to save the kids. Oh my God, that we sort of burnt ourselves out. And the thing is, that's okay. And I loved what you said there, Laura, because, we have to come back in that unity consciousness. And that's really what I stand for. And what all the while where I've gone off piste and like really frustrated with the behavior, but I try to pick myself up, and it's the awareness that's allowing me to do that. I don't get it right all the time, because trust me, when I go out there and it's just like, again, but you sort of think, no, don't do that. Let's just breathe. It's okay, because what do? We live in that, or if we get angry, who's it going to harm? Who's it going to harm? Ultimately, ourselves. And anger is such a horrible emotion that it can corrode one's soul. And this is where we have to come into that neutralized state, where we just, you're talking about the duality. We've been very bipolar as humanity. Everyone's on so many different spectrums here, and we just want to try to the best we can to ascertain a sense of neutrality and balance. And that's the key. That's what I've learned anyway.
Oh my gosh. I mean, this level of self-honesty, though, to me is the most divine and the highest vibe of leadership and being a teacher, without the old definitions of what that might mean. Leadership has many forms. I just wanted to say one thing, and then we should go around. I know we could just, Charnel and I recently did a show that was 4 hours and 30 minutes. And I know we could probably just stay on all night. Just maybe go around, Lindsay or Dr. Sean, whoever wants to go first. And we can just kind of share our final words. So, but there was something I wanted to say, but I think I'll just save it for my final words. But it was based on some of the awesomeness that you just shared. So thank you. So who wants to, and when I say final words, I mean, take as long as you want. I mean, I'm not ready to get off, but
you've got 5 hours.
Yeah, what's kind of lighting up from this conversation, or what's coming through, or what you want to make sure you share with us before we close. And I don't know who wants to start, maybe Lindsay, and then we'll go around, Charnel, Alpa, and then I'll close with my thoughts. How's that sound?
I just want to say thank you, and that I have your backs by your side. And I know that we are all by each other's side, and that I am blessed to have such strong, powerful women on the front lines with me. So thank you for being there. And
How can we find you, Lindsay, so people can connect with you?
you can find me at dr.lindsay, Lindsey, Muccio, M as in Matthew, IUCCIO on Instagram, and the same on Facebook. And then my website is acupuncturereverseaging.com.
Awesome.
Yes, thank you.
Any other final thoughts as far as just anything you've wanted to bring through you might not have had the chance to say?
I think I had touched on everything, but it's been eye-opening and a blessing, and I'm just happy to know that we are all in this together, and that we're all feeling the same thing, and that this is very much a collective, and we are a tribe, and we are working through it together, and that we aren't alone, and we are walking that staircase up to the light and enlightenment, up to I really feel like it's a release, like letting go of old baggage, right? And I'm glad that we are standing side by side. So
Nice.
Oh, I feel so much better after this. I'm just like, yeah.
too.
Yeah.
I actually, Dr. Charnel and I will be the last to close because we're co-hosting. So go ahead, Alpa. What final thoughts and words do you have? And
Every moment is an opportunity for growth. Life is progressive growth. We are connecting not by coincidences. This is happening by the divine order. And should we have the eyes to see what's going on within ourselves and outside, and just be an observer, be neutral and calm and integrated with self as much as we can, even in the face of all the adversity that we're facing. But also it's okay to be aware of what your emotions are, where the depth of your emotions go. This is an opportunity for growth by healing the wounds that you didn't even know existed. One of the things that I found very opportune in the last 3 weeks acutely is that I spoke about anger. I didn't realize just how angry I was until a few incidents just happened, because it was like, you're so conducive in trying to get this truth out, but there's unresolved hurt, unresolved anger, unresolved things that haven't been discussed, that you've been gaslit, you've been ghosted, you've been abandoned. And where has this served positively to us to grow? And it did take me a while to really realize, oh crap, this is actually my own shit. Right. And while you're in the public eye, you're kind of feeling like there's a pressure, and it's okay to go away and hide. No one's obligated to anyone. If we're congruent in this commitment for this beautiful connection of love and honesty and vulnerability, without the outside noise of who's this, who's that, who's in competition with you, who's got the most subscribers and all that bollocks, right? I don't care about any of that. And that's what put me off this whole movement, because we came congruent with a mission, and that was to open the eyes of humanity to the best way we can. Nobody told us how to do it. We've come on our own, and that should tell us something within ourselves about who we are as individuals, as strong beings of light and love. And yeah, we can also tell people to get lost, and it's that balance, it's that strength. We're not in a polarity where we owe anyone anything. We owe ourselves true love, and then the love and the frequencies will then follow, and that's really a passionate ending that I want to end on.
Oh, that's so beautiful. That's so great. Oh, I've just so enjoyed getting to know both of you more, and I look forward to just staying connected and doing.
Definitely, I'd love to have you all on the love in action show again.
What's that?
I said I want to have everyone on the Love in Action show as well, because it's back in action, so we can all be badasses. Yeah, not sad asses anymore.
But you're a badass sad ass, and it takes a major badass to be able to claim the sad assness. So well done. I mean, you both rock. You all rock.
Thank you,
Dr. Charnel, my angel sister. Final thoughts and anything you want to bring through that you didn't get to share that you want to share before we close, and then I'll have my final words, and I'll let you guys know where to find me, which is actually here and other places. So go ahead, Charnel.
Yes. So thank you, Laura, and I'm so glad we got to do this and create this together and be with you all today, everyone watching, and definitely the guests here. Oh my God, just love you. My final thing, you guys can find me at swifire.org. I'm also on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all that, Telegram. But what I would like to leave with is I wrote just a few things down. It's like authenticity, again, is like the biggest thing, and but also humility. And one thing that I love about my sis Laura is like whenever we can be humble enough to just say like we don't have it together and it's fine. And whether it's public or not, Laura especially, she has really showed me like, what, when you screw up, just she's out there going like, what, I messed up and oh well, and you kind of just keep going. And because like everyone's been saying here, Alpha had mentioned, we don't know how we're doing this. We're just trying to figure it out too as we go. And, I think sometimes people will put others, whether it's us or anybody, like in a higher weird hierarchy or something. It's like, that's all bullshit. It's just like man-made. So we're just like people too. We suffer, we have deaths, we lose babies, our dogs die, shit happens. I had a tornado that fell on, my house was demolished a year ago. Like just, we've had to move, there's things happening that are physically going on with kids and parents and, sickness and stuff. And so it's like, we're still, we're doing what we're doing as we can. We're also just sifting through our own shit at the same time, and to be humble and authentic at the same time is really important for everybody. And so I also wrote down, finding your tribe, connecting is a biggie. Finding those people that you can find solace in and like security and just be able to trust and be honest with. And then also creativity is huge. And the last two things I said, I was going to say is, go work at a shelter, go volunteer somewhere. I work with animals and I work at multiple shelters as an ND and I foster, just sometimes just giving away or doing a video or giving a free coaching session or, because everything is for us, and the limbic system can't tell the difference between, giving to someone else and giving us. So there is no him or them, there's no separation, and your body actually registers every time you give, whether it's money or service or things or time, and your body registers that as giving to yourself, and it releases all the chemicals that make you feel good because it is giving to yourself to give to others. And so, on my down days, it's especially funny because the director at the animal shelter will be like, "You good?" And I'm like, "Just having a day." And I'll go in there and just like love on a room full of kittens that don't have moms or homes, and just like feel the vibration, the frequency, 157 megahertz when we're 67. It's just like animals. And the last thing is, we're in this new year coming up. We're in this whole like, shortest day situation. And we got to understand, like, as much as everyone's all positive about new beginnings, new year, new beginnings, it's also the other side of the coin of new beginnings is a death to old. And death can be painful, whether it's physical or energetic, or in relationships or connections or collaborations or a job or moving or a house or whatever it is. There are things to work out emotionally and energetically with death. And so, I get that as we transition physically, that there is no real there is a transition, but, it's to a great different dimension, right? But be okay with understanding that new beginnings, don't be so like, yay, new beginnings, that we're not going to be shocked by the death. And that we're okay with feeling ourselves through those deaths, whether it's, like I said, in every which way of things. And so there's resurrection. There's power in resurrection, and we have the DNA of resurrection. Like literally, it's in us. And so we are so freaking powerful. We are powerful beings. We die, but we resurrect, and we are resurrecting in this new beginning time. And as we tune into that resurrection power, and we use the lower vibrations to, like an eagle, just like take those low vibes and use it for our benefit to swing up into the new. This is our way to navigate, and this is a way that we can actually use whatever has meant against us for us. Everything is for us. And if we look at the perception of everything that happens to us isn't happening to us, but for us, then it's a little bit easier to breathe and to just go like, it's okay. And just take a breath, take a bath, get a shower, go in nature, watch a sunset or a sunrise, get by the water, go to the beach, do something, get grounded. And I just love you so much, Laura. I love you, Dr. Lindsay. Thank you. We've kind of talked a few times and Instagram, been following you, and Alpa Soni. Oh my gosh, like you're kind of new to me. I remember seeing some stuff a long time ago, and then you came back on the forefront with this thing today, and I'm just like, oh my God, I love this woman. So love everyone watching. I'm sending you personal love vibrations to every single person watching, wherever situation you are going through right now. I am sending you personal love and personal strength that I didn't even literally have 2 hours ago, but I feel so energized, and I hope that you are feeling me sending you this and reminding you, you are resurrection freaking power in your DNA. And this is so pivotal right now for us. And if you remember, be one again, remind, repent, this is the penthouse. Come back to a new thought, pent again, think again, rebuild. This is the rebuilding, and we are the people rebuilding. We are the living stones who are making this. And I just love you so much, you guys. I thank you so much for this time.
Charnel, just incredible. All
Beautiful.
it's been so freaking amazing. And what is so interesting to reflect on is, that state of mind that you were in, and that we all have been in, that we are holding a similarity and resonance with each other about, is a part of that humility. Imagine if we didn't go into those zones and we were just posturing our ego like we have it all figured out. We would be blocking and denying all sorts of things. And ultimately, I feel that is what lowers our immune system, and it leads to disease. And to me, this is one of the greatest gifts we can give ourselves, we can give to each other, and we can hold space for and beam out to anybody who's listening. So I'll share my final thoughts. I love you so much, Dr. Charnel and Lindsay and Alpa. Man, it's so incredible to share this space with you. And I guess my final thoughts are talking about elements. Anger is connected to fire, obviously. So if the fire element has a shadow side, just like all the planets and how it relates to our organs, our endocrine system, and our nervous system, every element, though, has a shadow side. And some of it becomes shadow because of projections, or the way others treat us when we're in those places, or the way that we are unconsciously running those elementals without seeing the flip side. So anger, to me, is you're passionate. There's something that you're so passionate about that it's making you angry. So when we answer to that anger and we ask it, okay, well, what do you want? And we speak to it, and that anger says, I want you to fight for the children. I want you to stand up and speak your truth. I want you to, be yourself and not be afraid of the people that might leave you or not want to, and instead of being angry about it, I'm going to be passionate about continuing on my journey and just letting that fire transform and burn away that stickiness of what can turn the fire element into anger, frustration, and rage, and the internalization of the anger element that, oh my God, I'm working on that all the time. And then we move to the element of air, mind control. When we are dealing with the shadow of the air element, are we really in charge of ourselves? Are our thoughts our own? Or is it coming from indoctrination programs, social engineering, or what our parents projected on us, society, as far as expectations that we might have not lived up to? And so we have this shadow negative self-talk that we need to move through so that we can be sovereign. So when we master that element and we move air out of the mind control, just like fire out of anger, into being a free thinker, being a sovereign thinker, and being strong in your conviction to speak your truth no matter what, then we've turned that around, which is a part of the death cycle, is that we have to reconcile these lower energies. And then you got the physical, the earth element. Is there physical decline? Are you sick constantly? Do you have autoimmune issues? Are you moving through some sort of initiation that is compromising your health to the point where you're going to gain mastery over your health? So there's either, you know, being compliant to what the outer authorities say about the prognosis or diagnosis, or there's the ability to say, I'm going to connect into that earth element and work with it and understand the frequency modulations that are partially creating it, especially with the bioweapons and the spirochets and the nanoparticles and all that stuff. Well, it's like the regenerative power of nature is way stronger. So what do we need to understand about these bioweapons and the override frequency that we can occupy on a physical level to turn all this around? So we're all handed these challenges. For some, it's like dealing with a physical thing. For others, there might be a lot of loss and death, like, you know, raising twins without their father and having to help them through a father that basically passed away, died, and very difficult, you know, sort of circumstances. I mean, that was my like ultimate sort of challenge. Are they going to turn out okay? Am I going to be okay? Like, it was a successful day as long as we all woke up breathing. It wasn't so much about, it's like, oh my God, we're all breathing, we're all alive. And we moved so many times and it was just so insane. So I just wanted to insert that part of my challenge. That's where I've been challenged. For others, you know, it's maybe overcoming cancer, you know, and I'm sure that's maybe going to show up in my life. I don't know. But last one. So the physical, we're learning to regenerate, and it's almost like, you know, planting trees or helping the extinctions of different animals, like return, like rebuilding the ecosystem, which we can do within ourselves. So all these elementals that we're contending with within ourselves, the earth responds to. So the water element, depression, heaviness, the contamination of the water element based in these frequencies that change the nature of how that water flows throughout our body. So our job in that, or any time we face depression, is to ask ourselves, what is your deeper soul longing? What is making your water so dense and heavy? What do you really want? Well, I think our destiny is that our soul longing is going to be answered. The universe or God source isn't cruel enough to wave a carrot in front of our face our whole lives while we're longing and hoping for something that's never going to happen, like true love or healing and transformation, or seeing, you know, something really positive happen on the planet. So we can turn the murky waters of depression in our emotional bodies into the crystalline waters when we are willing to cry, when we're willing to be vulnerable. So that's the water element. And then the final one, the fifth element, connected to ether and spirit, is the spiritual distortions, religious belief patterns. Even if we don't fully adopt them, some people, you know, sometimes carry an unconscious religious guilt, or, you know, they carry part of what their parents tried to push them into. Even if you rebelled against it, it still kind of lingers, or past lives connected to religious distortions. Where can we find spiritual sovereignty? That's the flip side. So every shadow side of these elements are going to put us in anger, depression, sickness, and mind control, and also spiritual manipulation, to the point where we're not having a direct and sacred, unique relationship with source. We're getting it from somebody else. And if we don't adopt it to the way that they want, what, we're sinners or we're witches? I mean, oh my God, don't even get me started. Well, you better shut up and like close the show here. But so when we go through this death cycle, it's purifying all these elements to the point where our anger becomes passion, our minds become free, our spiritual energies become sovereign, our earth element, our physical bodies regenerate, and our emotional energy becomes the crystalline waters that are the sustenance to feed our new creations with, you know, pure intent. And so when we walk through those, you know, shadow sides, instead of judging ourselves for it, like, oh, I'm really angry, or I'm really depressed, or this and that, I know that all of us agree that let's create dialogue, let's be creative, let's talk about it, let's hold each other's hands and get to know it more, because all adversity is doing is helping us to get to know ourselves. But the cabal and the reversal grids, and basically what's been embedded in culture and society, is to say, when you're uncomfortable and you're feeling all these things, take this pharmaceutical, come and visit me in my office and I'll prescribe you something and I'll tell you what you need to do. And we know better. We know better. And all of you women are so strong in holding the line as far as how to really help people heal, and really come to grips with healing on a holistic level and resurrecting, you brought up that word, ancient wisdom and the true methods that can absolutely transform the way that people are responding to these fear tactics. And okay, I need to shut up. So you guys can find me at cosmicgaia.org. And I have a weekly show on the platform Conscious Vitality every Thursday at 7 p.m. Mountain Time. And I look forward to doing more with these awesome women. And the YouTube channel is the one that you're watching. And I don't know what else. I try and keep my website updated. And I learned how to do all the tech stuff. I had a projection. Oh no, you'll never be able to figure that out. You need to hire somebody. You don't have a tech mind. You're too. And I figured it out in 24 hours. So don't ever give up on yourself. If there's something you feel you can't do, take a breath, meditate, give yourself another chance. You might be surprised.
Awesome. That was beautiful, Laura. That was really, really beautiful. That just gave me chills. I was really honored to be here amongst all of you. Thank you so much. So humbled. This was perfect, right at the right time. I really needed this today. You won't have any idea just how much. So, and you're all a part of that. And everyone watching, it's nice to connect with you, albeit in the cyberspace, and sending everybody so much love. Thank you. Seriously, thank you.
We're going to put all the links to in the comments. It keeps saying like that people want to connect. So we're going to put all the links in the bios in this so you guys can find everybody too. So don't worry about that. We got it.
Oh yeah. Just give it, just check back if it doesn't happen right away. I got to jump on another thing, but they're going to be sharing on their channels the same broadcast, and really had so much fun with you guys.
Thank you.
Love you guys.
Excellent. Thank you.
Merry
Bye-bye,
Christmas.
Merry
Merry
Christmas.
Christmas.